In 40 years, you will die. And what are you doing about it? You spend all day scrolling on your phone, watching TikToks for hours and hours and hours, eating junk food, destroying your body, destroying your health, destroying your life, and wasting the next 60 years. How can you change it though? Well, in this video, I want to tell you more about death, my experiences. In the final weeks of one's life, the body gradually starts conserving energy. For many people, sleep increases. They start eating less and lose interest in conversations. The body is slowly redirecting energy away from maintenance and towards survival and the organs functioning. In the last few days, two things will happen. One, the situation gets worse and they spend the majority of their time speaking very little, sleeping, and stop eating almost entirely. Or the second choice, which is my favorite, is terminal lucidity, a sudden rally. In the last few days, some people might have a burst of energy. Some people may appear more awake, emotional present, talkative, and more hungry than usual. However, unfortunately, this sudden rally will fade. But this isn't so bad. I like to think of this as a final opportunity to talk with them, share stories, laugh, hold their hand one final time while they are still aware of you. In the last few hours is where terminal lucidity fades. After the period ends, their health continues declining rapidly. In the final hours, fatigue deepens rapidly, responsiveness fades, and eventually they are left in a coma. However, it's not quite a coma because all of their senses are gone except one, hearing. So, doctors advise us, and me personally, is that you can still tell them that you love them, you can tell them that it's okay, they can let go, the time has come, and they shouldn't worry anymore. And then the blood pressure falls, breathing stops, cardiac arrest, and then the end. But this doesn't answer the question. Why do we fear death? It is something that we cannot escape, and yet every single thing we do in this life is in the shadow of death. To love is to grieve, to deny mortality is to live in a lie, and to seek virtue is to suffer willingly in hopes to stop suffering. Now, psychology calls the fear of death anxiety. Death anxiety is caused by the awareness of mortality and the inevitability of death. And some core features are the fear of non existence, fear of the unknown after death, and most importantly, the fear of separation from loved ones. Now, a good way to counter this is by using the terror management theory, more specifically, but what I like to call it, buffer zones. Imagine it like a psychological defense system. These are the things humans use to soften morality awareness. It's saying to yourself that instead of worrying about what will come in the future, you should spend your time wisely with your loved ones. However, I disagree with this because this is choosing to live in a lie, in ignorance, instead of embracing the hard truth. I am here to tell you that being afraid of death is a blessing in disguise, for it shows you that you are deeply attracted to life. Many Stoic philosophers argue that death is not something that you should be afraid of. It is not living fully. They are saying that instead of fearing death and spending our days doom scrolling for hours on end, rotting in bed, is the thing that we should be afraid of instead. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. It is a natural life process, no different from going to sleep or eating. And to be honest, Marcus Aurelius says that when death smiles upon us, all a man can do is smile back. And yet, even after all of this talking, one question still hasn't been answered. What is there after death? Is there heavenly music and pearly gates waiting for us? Or is there simply nothing? Epicurus says that he has been dead for billions and billions and billions of years and he has felt the slightest inconvenience. But beginning I disagree with this because you don't remember what you're doing at 3 years old. Your life, your memories start beginning somewhere at 4 or 5. When he told his mom couldn't believe it. And why, you may ask? Because before he was born, the woman had a miscarriage. And the miscarriage was a girl. And she never told him that she existed. They had no pictures of her, and they had never mentioned her, and yet he met her. So, all of these stories point to something beyond death. And yet we cannot be sure until we experience this ourselves. The only thing that we can be sure is that when we die, we'll have lived a life worth living and built a legacy to be remembered. So, how can you remember what was before death when you can't even remember what was happening at 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years old? And moreover, is there are people who have died and have come back. These are called near-death experiences, and it's when people die and after a few minutes they come back to life. And one of my favorite cases is a case of a woman named Maria. Maria had a cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead, and for a few minutes was dead. But then she was brought back, and she described floating out of her body. She floated above the hospital roof and described the tennis shoe with a very specific description. Later, a nurse climbed up the stairs and found the exact same shoe and matched the description completely. Another famous story is of a 4-year-old boy who underwent surgery and described meeting deceased relatives, including a sister he never met.